It is February 19th, 2024. Yo, did you hear some of that Draymond Chuck exchange at the All-Star game?
Some of it. Oh, I was just talking about.
Well, this one had me dying in particular.
Pay for this suit. I'm probably about $1,000. It looked like it. Hey, okay. Hey, you know what's funny about that? You know who was asking about you the other day? Who's that? Nobody.
Yeah, sounds good.
What's up, y'all? We are the HoopStorians. I'm Tony Styles. This is unique.
Done.
Let's get into this day in NBA history real quick. This day in NBA history, February 19th, 1995, Hakeem grabs 9 boards, goes over the 10,000 rebound mark. I got Hakeem in my top 10. Where do you got him at as far as you go?
He's in my top 10. After my top 5, it's kind of hard for me to really place people exactly with what number, but I feel like he's around like 8 or 9.
Yeah, I got him at 10. Yeah, I got the real 7. I got the top 8 that goes in my 9th slot. It's really weird. I got Hakeem at 10th, and I got a floating 9th.
Yeah.
So, there's some people how I could see they're over him, under him. But yeah, I think Hakeem is definitely top 10. He had the greatest peak I'd ever seen. So, yeah, Hakeem is top 10 for me, top 10 for Neek, and that is this
I,
day in NBA history. I cut you off for the graphic. What were you going to say?
oh no, I was just gonna say I feel like most people put Akeem in a top 10 as well. Like the ones that grew up watching the game during the 90s, the ones who grew up watching the game in the 80s and stuff like that. So I feel like those are the ones you're gonna see because they're gonna have more knowledge about what he was doing on the court, basically.
No, I agree with that. Um, so did you watch the All-Star game this weekend?
I did. You know what? So I didn't actually sit and watch the entire game. I
You
saw it
could.
in parts. I saw it in parts. So it's like I think I watched the first half and then I got distracted and then I saw the fourth quarter. So I saw how it ended and then once that happened, it really didn't matter what happened in the third. You
Yeah,
watched it?
I watched some of the first, some of the second, and I turned it off when I realized it wasn't a game. It was just shoot around. Shoot around with no D. 211 to 86 sounds great. Like if you were to talk to me as a kid, there's gonna be a 211, 180. I'm like, oh my God, I'm in. But not with no defense, not with no competition, no competitive spirit. I think back to like the '03 All-Star game when it went to double overtime. People
Yeah,
really
that was
win
bad.
that game. '01 when the East came back down from 20 to beat the West off of Marbury's 2 threes at the end.
Marbury
Um,
and Iverson was showing out at the end.
Right, 93 All-Star game, they went to overtime, so that's what I'm saying. I mean, I get it, obviously I don't want you necessarily to go as hard as an exhibition game, but I mean, I would like some competitive spirit in there. That's always why nobody watches the Pro Bowl. It's become flag football and all that. So, yeah. So do you think
And
we're worse?
said it again.
You think the All-Star game's worse than in past? You think we're worse, or do you think that, it's just, shooting a bunch of threes and we like it? Where do you think we're at?
I feel like the All-Star game is worse. I do feel like there's potential for it to kick up. I think we're in a weird space right now where they're still trying to decide how they want to format it. You know how it went from traditional to now it's the highest voters are picking teams and then it went back to traditional. So I think them trying to figure out exactly how they want to construct it is going to be the difference maker moving forward, which kind of brings me to a point because moving forward, I'm wondering if they're gonna start including the women. Like since they're already playing non-touch basketball and everything like that, since they're already playing in a manner where it's less physical, I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing them including the women from the WNBA in some of these all-star festivities, like the game itself. Like I don't know if they're necessarily gonna have um the women all star versus the men all star, but I think they're going to do something to kind of incorporate them to kind of start making people more familiar with seeing men and women play against each other.
Well, they've already incorporated the women in All Star Weekend. I don't know if you remember, but they used to have the teams from the city competition. So they would have like a current player for the Rockets, an
Mhm.
old player that played on the Rockets, and then a current player that played with the Comets. And they had that.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So they
When they
and
would
then they
do them
also
team
had
challenges.
yeah, yeah. And then they also had them in the celebrity game.
Right.
So, yeah, where they would have a current WNBA player, a current NBA player, a former, or whatever. So, yeah, we've seen them include it. This is the first time where it's been like a competition solely versus a man or woman. Obviously, I don't think they could have them playing the games for multiple reasons, even though it's no contact, no touch. Um, the time it takes well, one, what ball are they going to play with at that point? They're two different size balls. Are we going to have two balls on the court?
Nah, they probably play with the regulation. But
Okay, so
again, that's some stuff that they need to figure out though. So
right.
that's why I
Um,
said down the line.
Yeah. Well, what was I going to say? The girl that played Steph, Sabrina, she's what 5'7". So if you got someone like Kevin Durant guarding her, how much space is she going to need to get a
Okay.
shot off him?
Yeah. That reach is way too, that
Right. So
wingspan is too great.
right, and then the jump, and then the and then the quick muscle twitch movement. It's just there's just too many factors into it, and I don't know how they would do it. So I don't know. What do you think of the shootout though between the two?
I liked it. Actually, you know what? When I first saw the shootout, and even before then, because I was under the impression really that the shooting ability is one of, I guess, one of the things that keeps us balanced as far as men and women when it comes to basketball, because you know male or female, anybody can shoot. You feel me? It's not likely that you're gonna come across like 5'8", 5'9" women that are dunking and doing crazy, maneuvers in the air and stuff like that. But as far as shooting, they can do that. So for me, I went into it kind of hoping Steph didn't get embarrassed, but at the same time, I was actually happy for Sabrina. Like I kind of, part of me wanted her to win, but at the same time, I knew Steph would never hear the end of it if she did lose, so I didn't want that to tarnish his career. So I liked it though. I liked the fact that she dropped as many as she did. It seemed like she was kind of nervous. She came out blazing, but it seemed like after a while she started getting nervous. But also,
Seemed to me like she wore down as it went on.
and that could be the case. It could have, to me seemed like nerves, and it was more so fatigue. But I do like the fact that she scored as many as the males. That were in the actual contest. I thought that was pretty dope. I thought that was weird that 26 was the weird number for everybody that game or that
Well,
night.
unless you're
But
Steph.
right, unless you step.
Yeah, to be honest with you, looking back on it, really, that was the only part of All Star Weekend I really enjoyed watching.
It was
So,
dope.
maybe they should have more co-ed shootouts moving forward. I think the dunk contests have been trash for years. The only time that I liked it really in the last 10 years was what 2016, which I think we're going to get into later. But they had a dunk contest one dunk contest. What was that? 2014, where they were doing things like freestyling. Everybody was dunking all at once, and it was really fun. The only problem was they just didn't know who won at the end. There was no clear cut winner. We were confused who won, but yeah, I could see definitely women being more in the co-ed 3-point shootout.
Yeah.
The question is though, is she one of one, or are there a bunch that can shoot at that level?
I think there's a bunch. Just like a lot of the kids that are coming up are developing better shots in long distance range, and
Hmm.
everything like that from watching the likes of a Clay or a Dame and stuff like that. Women and girls, they watch the NBA just like they watch the WNBA. So I'm sure they're seeing the shooters, emerge and everything like that. And shooting is fun. So, and plus, the women, that's what they have. You feel me? They're not high flyers like that. So the women they have no choice but to develop some form of a shot. So I definitely think it's gonna be women moving forward that are gonna have the type of shots to where they can go up against some of these dudes from the NBA that are known as great shooters.
Well, I wanted to ask you that too. Speaking of which, and you brought this up to me over the weekend, and I said let's save it for the show. So I'm going to ask you what you asked me.
Mhm.
What's more exciting, a dunk or a 3-pointer from 30 feet and beyond?
And you know what? For that, that's still very difficult for me to answer myself because I grew up just like you in the era where it was dunkers. Like, and the crazy thing about it is, and I know I'm gonna give an answer, but I have to get through like my thought process because I grew up in the era of the Jordan. I grew up in the era of the Wilkins and Sean Kemp and
The Harold
all of
Miners.
yeah, all of these people that are flying through the air, right?
Hmm.
Um, Jerry Stackhouse, all of that. So I'm growing up watching these people, but at the same time, I was always fascinated when I would see Reggie get off, when I would see even Danny Ainge, when I would see Hornacek, when I would see Kerr, when I would see all of these 3-point shooters. Back then, it wasn't happening so often. So maybe that was part of the excitement, or maybe it was because like these are coming at crucial points that are determining games or even winning games. So I don't know if that was causing the excitement, but I definitely know that when I was growing up and I was watching this, I wanted to be in hybrid. I wanted to be the type of player that dribbled like Iverson, but then shot like Reggie Miller. Next thing you know, we got Steph Curry, which, in my opinion, is exactly that. Watching him, and as you
Kyrie
were
too.
saying, sorry, as you were saying, like the dunk contest, they have gotten whacker and whacker. And I'm not saying every year it's progressively whack, but you'll have a dunk contest that's just
Just
like,
in
man, that was
general. If you look
in
at it from
general.
10 years to
Exactly.
10 years to 10 years, yeah.
Exactly. You get within 10 years, you get 2 or 3 good dunk contests when that
And they're
used to
doing
be what
crazier dunks.
they're doing crazy dunks. But
And it's
some
worse.
something about it. So there's still the excitement of watching people like
Do you
Ja.
think it's the lack of no big names? Like you just said, Jordan was winning it when we were children, and Dominique, and and Kobe, and Vince, and there was all these all-star caliber players, Hall of Fame players, MVP players, um, all-star players, and now you got what's his name? Mac McClung. He doesn't play in the league. He plays in the G League. And he's won it the
I,
last 2 years in a row.
I don't. I'm gonna tell you why. Um, I feel as though we've seen some exciting competitions amongst players that we don't really know or didn't have well-known names at the time. We've seen some of them do extremely well in dunk contests and bring a level of competition that was, had you interested. So I don't think they necessarily have to be a big name. I think the competition has to be there. It can't just be one person that's wowing everybody. And I think that's what's going on. You get 1 or 2 people in a dunk contest that are like there to compete and to win, and then the rest is kind of mediocre dunks. Like, not to take away from Mac, this dunk contest over the past weekend, but he wasn't really going up against he wasn't going up against nothing as far as the caliber of dunks that he had to compete with. And that's not to take anything from Jalen Brown. It was just like, mm, these are the dunks you want to bring to a contest?
They've been roasting Jalen Brown on social media. I don't know if you've
Have they?
seen it.
Nah,
They've
they're
been
not feeling the dunks either.
no, no, no. So if if you want to go to TikTok, go to YouTube. They're roasting the shit out of Jalen Brown right now.
See, yeah, I'm gonna
So
have to see. But yeah, see, and again, it's not to take away from him, but I feel as though this is part of the reason why we're seeing a decrease in how many people like to see dunks. And this is taking me to the answer. Um, in my opinion, I feel as though it is more exciting nowadays to watch people shoot from beyond 30. Maybe because more people are doing it, maybe because we're seeing a range of people doing it. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's a combination of things, but I feel as though that's more exciting. It's like you hear the all this person does is shoot. All they do is shoot. But at the same time, the teams that are running and gunning are the ones that are drawing in the bigger crowds and the bigger audiences and everything like that.
I can't speak for anybody else. I can just speak for me. So a dunk will always be more exciting, especially a good dunk. One of my
Mhm.
all-time favorite plays is Scottie Pippen dunking on Ewing in the playoffs, and then as he rode him out of the bounds, shoved him out of the ground, then dragged his dick across the top of Ewing's head. And then Ewing had to push him, got a hand all up in his ass when he pushed him off. So yeah, a dunk to me, a good dunk is always better than three. Just because the way I look at it, like I can go out and watch 6 year olds banging threes. I can't watch 6 year
Mhm.
olds dunk. So to me, it's more athleticism, and I watch sports for the athletes. I mean,
Mhm.
I bang in all kinds of far threes. My range before, and like, I haven't played in a while, but my range is decent, obviously at a gym level, not the NBA, not an NBA level competition. So yeah, to me, a dunk is just way more exciting. It shows more of the athleticism of the player, and sports are supposed to be played by athletes. I want to watch athletes play. If you look
No,
at like some people like Eric Bledsoe, Eric Bledsoe is by far one of the best athletes that's ever played the game. Andre Iguodala is one of the best athletes that's ever played the game. They didn't necessarily have basketball skills that translated. They were still good players, but as far as athleticism goes, they're by far one of the most athletic players. So yeah, I like to see a good dunk. I like to see a small. I like to see in currently like a John Morant dunking on people. I like to see like a Kevin Johnson dunking on Hakeem. I got something special saved for you later on. I don't want to bring him up when we get into another
for
segment that
sure,
we're
for
going to talk
sure.
about. But another one, I got another short guy, one of my favorite dunkers and stuff like that. So yeah, I like seeing to me, and especially a 6'1" dude shooting a three, Trey Young shooting threes versus someone like I said, John Morant yamming on people. I would rather watch that.
Right,
That's
and
where I'm at.
I get that. I definitely understand that because even for me, I'm torn because, like I said, I grew up watching people do this. So I love watching the dunkers too. And I don't dispute that it's exciting. It's probably more exciting to watch a dunk than a three pointer. But people seem to be more excited about a three pointer now. It's almost like a dagger. It's like a lot of these, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's where the dunks are coming in at, what impact the dunk itself has on the game versus what it looked like. But watching these people step across half court and just sink it's really got people losing it.
Let me ask you this. Let's say, let me just give you a scenario and tell me what you think would get Oracle or whatever the new arena is in San Francisco is called. Get more jumping. Let's say Steph Curry first play of the game, they win the tip, he brings it up half court, a few steps, bangs in a three, like the one that he beat Oklahoma City with. Let's say he banged it in from there. Okay, it's pretty far. Or he crossed somebody up and dunked it on someone. What do you think would be more exciting for the first play of the game?
If it's Steph, it's gonna be the dunk because they're not accustomed to seeing him dunk though. If that was more part of his package, I think they would go for him bringing the ball up and shooting over the dunk. But because he doesn't typically dunk, I think that's why that will be more exciting for people.
I got you. I think just starting off the game, I think like you said, a three is so. I think a three at the end of the game is more exciting, especially when the buzzer goes off, because you get to sit as you
Yeah,
watch the ball arc into there. So I think in certain
yeah.
scenarios the three is, but I just think overall the dunk is. I think the dunk would be more exciting first play, seventh play, whatever. And I think where the three really comes in, maybe if you're coming from behind, start banging in threes. But I think so. I guess what I'm saying is I think it's more like a 60-40, 7-30 towards the dunk, and I think in
Okay.
certain situations, the three is like I said,
Hmm.
it doesn't really matter. What your answer is. They're both exciting plays. But to
Yeah.
me, like me personally too, the alley oop has always been the most exciting plays, except
Yeah.
especially when it's cross court and it's just the timing between two people. They're on the move. They're in sync with one another. I mean, we got a great assist and a great score at the same time. So to me, that's where I'm at. I'm gonna have to go with the dunk overall, and I think the alley oop is my favorite play.
Speaking of alley oops, okay, it makes me think of Lob City and when Wade and LeBron was connected in Miami, when they were both just lobbing it to
Hmm.
each other, full court alleys. What was more exciting then, since you like the oops? Watching LeBron and Wade exchange or watching Chris Paul dish to the Clippers like he was
Lob City. And
Lob
I'm gonna tell
City?
you why. I'm gonna tell you why. One, a lot of those passes between Wade and LeBron, like when I think of the cross court ones, it was a lot of layups. I mean, it was impressive
Yeah,
that you were
yeah,
throwing it from
true,
one end
true,
to the
true.
other. I'm not saying that, but to me, and it wasn't even Blake Griffin with the best. Like DeAndre Jordan was the best one in Lob City. I love
Yeah.
DeAndre's dunks over his one on Brandon Knight's probably one of my favorite dunks of all time. And I would
Mhm.
say it's unequivocally the best if he wasn't a foot shorter than him. But you know what I mean? But the size discrepancy, I have to knock it down a peg. But yeah, like
Right.
the DeAndre Jordan dunks were just better. And I think Chris Paul's a better passer than either one of them. I think the passes were more on point. And I think DeAndre Jordan, Blake Griffin are better dunkers than either LeBron or I think LeBron is an awful dunker. That's why he never entered the game. Like he always it's just a cockback or it's some sort of windmill, and that's all he's got. He's got nothing. We've seen every type of windmill and we've seen every type of cockback. You know what I mean? His dunks just have never been that impressive to me for what he was. So yeah, I think I would rather go with Lob City. But speaking of
Yeah.
dunks, let's get into the dunk contest because you know we were going to
All
talk
right.
about top dunk contests of all time. And I'm looking back on this, like I said, I realized that you know we were going to do five. It's really hard for me to get five because there's certain elements I like.
It's
There's
hard.
certain,
It's hard.
it is. There's certain elements I like about that, but there's very few dunk contests that I really like through and through. And if you want to
Okay.
be honest with you, I think I'm at no dunk contest I like through and through. I like, you know, like for one, I like the like here we'll use this honor my number spot. My number fifth spot is my number fifth spot is the 92 dunk contest. And the only reason why it's in fifth is because we got Larry Johnson in it. He was my all-time favorite player. So that's where I got in 92. Cedric Sabalas won it on a blindfolded dunk that they say wasn't really blindfolded. But what do you got coming in fifth?
For me coming in number fifth. Ooh, all right, yeah, I had to
Well,
write it down.
well,
I
I mean, I'll
got.
show you some clips while we wait.
I'm actually Nate. I'm going with the '09 Nate Robinson against the White. The reason is because the matchup. They're both winners. The fact that the White allowed Nate to dunk over him during the competition. I know for some that's like, why are you helping this guy that you're competing with? But for me, it was kind of the camaraderie. It was the fact that, the White was just like, even though we're competing, I still want to see you win. I still want to see you do this. I still want to see you excel. So I kind of like that.
Well, I mean, a lot of that dunk though too, where he dunked over, that was a lot of arm by Nate. He didn't get
It
up.
was.
He pushed off him to get up. A whole
He
lot of
did.
arm on that one.
Now, Nate Robinson is 5'7" though. So even with that, just the
Five
fact that,
nine, he's listing at.
okay, 5'9", even
Hmm.
still though, 5'9", the White is listed at what, 6'11",
Yeah, they say he's
okay,
really 6'9". I don't know if that's
6'9",
true or not.
even that. So we got 5'9", a whole foot over him. Like, you feel me? It's watching a 5'9" person dunk, let alone be able to do creative and fancy dunks. And then on top of that, you can dunk over people a whole foot. So I get the arm thing, but it was just the fact that he was even getting up like that. Because to be honest, personally, I like the dunk over Spud more than I like the dunk over Dwight.
I agree with you on that.
And that might have even, I guess for me, the reason I didn't go with the was that '06? The reason I didn't go with the '06 dunk contest is because I didn't feel as though Nate really went against that great of competitors in that one. So that was the reason I went with '09. I felt like he had better competition in '09.
Well, as far as the '06 dunks, and I'm not sure because he's a three-time winner, right? So he won in what '06, '07, '09. So this is either when he won in '06 or '07. Um, the reason
Was it?
why I didn't go with '06, and I'm pretty sure this is the one that he did it, is when he did the between his legs, the double between his legs and threw it off the backboard. Do you remember that? He jumped up in the
Yeah, I
air
do.
and he threw the yeah. It took him like 25 times to do it.
Yeah.
Ever since then, I'm off. You know, if you can do this once every 20, it's just not that impressive.
That you know what? That format change, you'll see the difference because that actually has to do with some of the selections as far as the great dunk contest, in my opinion, as well.
No, I got you on that. So what? You didn't like Larry Johnson's dunks from '92? I'll show you a couple. Let me show you a couple.
Dunk artists. And by the way, we're going to be joined, you'll hear them on mic, with D. Brown, the defending champion, Magic Johnson, and Isaiah Thomas. The first dunk of the night.
He does this so quickly, hits the backboard and takes it to the other side.
There's the score.
They would make them wait for about 15 seconds, build up, get the anticipation. And then when they finish the dunk, they would hang on the rim and, just more style. Right now, these guys are just coming in with a simple dunk, and the fans aren't buying it because they're used to seeing. There we go. They love it over here.
Larry Johnson.
Watch as he comes on the right side, gets up with power, then he goes on the other side, bam!
He reminds me so much of Kemp in a way, but not really.
Little strategy here now. He's thinking about what he wants to do. He's going for it. Oh! That woke him up.
So what do you think of some of them early 90 dunks?
I'm not feeling them.
They were hot in the moment, though.
Right, I'm sure they were, and in the '90s, I probably was feeling them. '92, I was probably sitting there right there watching, like, ooh. But yeah, I ain't feeling them right now.
What do you think of young Steph, 3-year-old Steph?
Funny how he looks the same, just with a beard now.
Well, that's why they call him the baby-faced assassin.
Right.
Who do you got for number 4? What's your number 4 dunk contest?
Number 4, I have Spud Webb in the '86.
Okay.
I mean, do I need to explain that one? Or is that kind of self-explanatory?
It's kind of self-explanatory, but we are the HoopStorians, and there were people that wasn't around for '86. So go ahead and explain it to them.
So Spud Webb was 5'7", entered the dunk contest, had to go up against his teammate at one point, Dominique Wilkins, who is a legendary dunker in his own right. And he wowed everybody. I don't know who knew about how well he could dunk before the dunk contest, but they learned that day. He wasn't just jumping up and like he wasn't just 2 feet in him. No, he was throwing balls off the backboard. He catching oops and stuff like that. He doing 360s. Like, yeah. So yeah, Spud, he earned that one. 5'7", killed it.
What kind of takes away from that dunk contest for me is Jordan was injured with the foot, so we didn't really get the best dunkers then. He came back next year, back to back.
I'm actually glad. The reason I'm glad Jordan was injured is because Spud was able to win. I'm not saying that Spud would not have won if Jordan was in it, because he could have beat Jordan. But what I am saying is we got to see the spotlight on Spud versus, Jordan taking some of that shine away, because Jordan had enough that he was dealing with in the '80s that, I wanted to see. Well, I can't say I wanted to see, but I'm glad to see that Spud was able to win, and that got to go down for his legacy.
I think it's kind of like what you said about Steph. It would get the crowd more hype, because they're not used to seeing Steph dunk. Nobody was used to seeing no 5'7" player then. No YouTube, no social media. You know what I mean? Every 5'7" person you knew wasn't dunking, wasn't jumping, wasn't doing none of that. So I think Spud would have won on shock value alone. I think that's how he won anyway. Shock value. I mean, his dunks weren't all that crazy, wasn't all that great. It was just a 5'7" person doing it. Where moving forward, because that was '86, so we're 38 years ahead of time now. Looking back on it, was impressive he was doing on the first attempt instead of all these misses and all that. But yeah, I have at number 4, and it's only for one reason and one reason only. My number 4 spot's got to go right here.
Crowd wants to see Vince Carter, who had told Kenny Smith that he has 4 dunks that no one has ever seen. All right, here is Vince Carter with his first stop.
First 360.
And that was really his only dunk worth of shit. The other ones weren't all that good. The one that he came from behind the backboard was good. The one where he just hung his arm in the rim, that wasn't very good. So, I mean, really, it was just that opening dunk really kind of set the tone, and we all knew he was winning after that.
That is interesting.
What is?
What's interesting about that is that dunk contest is actually on my list.
Nope. We'll get into it as we move forward, but that's where I'm at, and that's why that's number 4. And then wherever you got it, you can tell us why you ranked it there.
It's number 3 on my list.
Okay, tell me why you got it 3. We'll move into number 3.
The reason why I have it number three, you know, what's funny? You didn't like the arm in the rim dunk, but I actually did that reverse 360. I did like that. That was one of the dunks that did it for me as well. If I recall correctly, that was the dunk contest where he was up against Steve
McGrady, Steve Francis
McGrady.
was he beating finals? Yeah, McGrady was in there.
Yeah, him and that's the reason why I have it number three because watching Vince go up against Steve Francis, and I felt like Steve Francis was giving him that work. I feel like Steve Francis was giving him a run for his money at that point in time. So that's why. And then, like I said, oh, like you said, McGrady was part of it. They had to get past McGrady. McGrady was a great dunker. So yeah, that's why it's number three.
Yeah, like I said, it didn't to me. It didn't live up to the hype. Like Vince came out with like I think his best dunk was that dunk, and then I think all the dunks got progressively worse after that. Steve Francis's dunks, they were crazy the way he like contorted his body and
Yeah,
kind of got
yeah,
horizontal. Like the dunks itself wasn't that good. It would just basically bounce it, throw it, catch it, dunk it. But he would get
yeah.
kind
He
of
looked
like,
crazy in the air.
Superman, like he was flying and all that. So that's
It
where,
looked dangerous.
yeah, it definitely looked dangerous. It definitely looked dangerous. Yeah, my number three all-time dunk contest is. Hold on, let me see if I can pull it
And I
up.
like it because he's always thinking about what he wants to do. Here it comes.
That's not it. That's the other one. Oh, okay. Here's my number three all-time. We'll go into it real quick. This first one.
He'll get more than 41.
Line needs to do something special here. Again, it's a power windmill type of dunk.
Oh, now that's a 360 with just a little authority, folks.
Mission control, ready for launch.
That brought Dominique to his feet. And a 50 for Michael Jordan on his first.
So number 88. 88 is my third all-time favorite dunk contest. It goes back and forth, back and forth. I realized what made Dominique such a great dunker and why people think because his dunk basically was two-footed windmill, two-foot, just from different angles. But it was the power in which he did it with, which was so crazy. Like just to show you some examples here.
Oh, mercy.
That was a tremendous effort by Dominique Wilkins. It's nothing new, but again, it's spectacular and it's front of the home crowd. Here's a 360.
Oh!
Well, the heat is on, Rick. With that one, the judges are going to have to respond with a good score.
Like you hear the force they get up with. I don't really hear force
Yeah.
like that anymore. Maybe the rims are different. I don't really know. But like it just keeps going. Let's show you some more clips.
From high above the rim. High above the rim. And the perfect score of 50.
Be hard not to give him 50 on that one, Steve. That was impressive. That time he did the two-hander double clutch.
He got a 50.
Like you hear the power in which they rattle those rims. So that's what I like. They kept getting 50s and 50s, and they just kept going up and up until the final round.
Looked like a figure 8 with the double clutch. A 47 was awarded on that dunk. Oh, that was powerful. And the judges have awarded Dominique Wilkins a 45.
That's incredible.
Now for Michael Jordan, here's the story. Wilkins finishes with 145. Michael Jordan needs a 48 to tie, a 49 to win.
And that's when he does the free throw, the classic, Jordan symbol dunk and all that. That's where I got. Do you have that dunk contest on your list?
I do have it on the list.
And what number is it?
Number 2.
Okay.
Yeah, it was classic. It was definitely one for the ages, one for the books. Seeing them go back and forth, and then the fact that even Drexler was included in that. These were 3 of the big names in the 80s for dunks. So yeah, that was a nice little head to head, and it was what people were waiting for, to see Dominique and MJ go up against each other.
So I'm already guessing. I think I know who your number one is, but let me tell you who my number two dunk contest is of all time. And it was really just because two people showed out and went against each other. And I remember watching this live. It was crazy. You know, you just hadn't seen things like this.
Wait, let me see it.
Rookie game, he leads this competition.
That is freaky right there. That is freaky. The lead between the legs is freaky. That is a top 10 dunk of all time. He's got the flu right now. He's sick. He's sick. He's sick.
Everybody got to remember, it was with the left hand too.
We need to get him a get well card. He's sick right now.
I'll tell you what, but he made a face. He couldn't believe that.
He's pumped, so he's going to come up a little higher and do something a little bit free.
That was hard. But yes.
You remember the 03 dunk contest?
I do remember it. That's a forgotten dunk contest, but
That's why I put it on.
That just took me back. Yeah,
that's why people don't understand. That's why I am a HoopStorian. I remember the things people forget. So I mean, yeah, that was crazy. And then they just kept going up and up. Richardson, we were used to seeing at that time people jump off 1 foot. It had been what? Well, Dominic won in 90, so it had been 13 years since we really saw like the 2 foot leaper win. But Jason Richardson, you know, he was a 2 foot leaper, and him and Desmond Mason just going back and forth. And here's another one.
Rocket to sleep, baby. You're going to rocket to sleep. Oh! That's like an 8 to me.
You can see he can stripe and put a match between his knees. He can make a strike.
That's what I'm talking about. Because he's consistently going to be at 46. Whatever he does, consistent.
Because all he needs to do is just make a dunk and he's in.
360. He's going 360. 360.
So much for conservative. Today.
Oh,
another good.
That left hand. Okay, cut the ball with 2 hands.
Hey, that's smart because that might get him enough to win it right there.
That was the point.
This kid has to jump off 2 feet also.
Oh my goodness. That's everything. That's Desmond Mason.
And then
rocket to sleep, baby. You're going to rocket to sleep.
This one. But yeah, so that yeah, to me, I think that as far as competitiveness goes, it was just back and forth. It was one dunk, you know, tries. That's what really makes a dunk contest to me is, you know, you get one attempt, either you can do it or you can't. Not, you know, 20 tries or whatever, and it just takes away from the dunk. You know, it's not as impressive watching you fail a bunch of times. You know, it's the amazement to not know what you're going to do and then watch the ball go through. So, as the forgotten dunk contest, would you revamp your list, or what are we saying here?
I wouldn't revamp my list, but
you don't think it's a top 5 dunk contest?
I mean, to some, I mean, it's not top 5 for me, but I mean, I wouldn't knock anybody for putting it in theirs.
What keeps it out of the top 5 for you?
I mean, they were cool dunks. I'm not saying that they weren't, but I wasn't as impressed, which is part of the reason why I forgot all about it, to be quite honest. That last dunk though, between the legs, that back
reverse, came back and reversed it. Yeah, that's one of the all-time dunks.
Yeah, that one was hard, you know, but within a lot of dunk contests, it's gonna be a hard dunk or two, but it won't necessarily sell me. Like the dunk itself wasn't dope enough for me to be like, okay, now this dunk contest, I have to put in my top 5. I have to remember because of this dunk specific. Like it didn't do that for me. But,
I got you.
Cool.
I'm gonna play my number 1 dunk contest, and you tell me if you agree with it. If it's number 1 for you too.
No, this is real. This is real. Okay. This is real. This is real. That's a 50. That's a 50. That's a 50. That is a 50. That's what you do and how you do it. Yeah. Buddy.
Okay, your dunk is good.
Okay, Zach said. Okay.
Hold up. Let me say this.
Please do.
I loved 2015. I love Zach's dunks in 2015. My only issue with it is I felt like he was just running through the competition in 2015. 2016, he was up against a very worthy opponent. And I feel as though that opponent got robbed, to be quite honest. Because Zach missed way too many dunks, in my opinion, which goes back to what you were saying before about the format. Whereas in the 80s, early 90s, stuff like that, it wasn't okay to keep missing dunks. It wasn't okay to have
Two
all these
attempts.
different attempts. And you feel me? It wasn't okay. Whereas I can't even remember how many attempts he got, but it was like, yeah, the end result was you landed that dunk and it looked great, but it doesn't look so great after I just watched you try it 5-6 times. So I say that to say that is my number one, though. 2016 is my number one, but it's my number one because of the upset. Not the upset, because of the robbery that occurred and the competition. Because Aaron Gordon, man, the
Well, put it
stuff
this
he
way:
was doing.
if he didn't win that night, he was the second best dunker all time. Not another competition he wouldn't have won. So, do you think that upped Zach's game? Because, like you said, he was running through it early in 15. Do you think he would have broke out the windmill dunk from the foul line or he was just going to break that out no matter what? Or do you think he had to break that out because of Aaron Gordon?
It's hard to say.
Ponder? You can ponder.
Mascot. Oh, yes, indeed. Okay.
Listen, that
Go
made me take the headset off.
Come on, man. Time to go home, man.
Oh, my God.
Let's go home.
Yeah.
Let's go home. Let's go home. Let's go home. Let's go home. We're getting out of here. Take your jackets off. Let's go home. That's what I'm talking about. Yo, Pop, yo, seriously. Come on, man. A windmill, free throw. Come on, man. That's 50, man. I just don't know, man.
So, couple things. He obviously practiced that dunk at some point, so it was something that he threw in his bag, or maybe not. But I feel as though that was something he practiced and had in his bag. And I remember Levine had been saying things like, he was going to pull some tricks out, pull some dunks out that hadn't been seen. So that could have been something that he was referring to. So the reason I was saying it's hard to say is because I don't want to say that he didn't already have that in his repertoire, because he could have, but at the same time, the level of competition Gordon was bringing him, he had to. So if it wasn't already there, he had to create it. He already knew he can jump from that distance. He already knew he can do the windmill. Why not combine them? Because the stuff Aaron Gordon was doing had him with his back against the wall.
Do you think that was the best dunk of the night?
What, the windmill?
Windmill from free throw line.
No, I don't.
What do you think it was? I think that was the best dunk of the night. I think Aaron Gordon had better dunks throughout the night, but I think that was the best dunk of the night.
I think the best dunks of the night actually came from Gordon. Now, they both did the cuff where they caught the ball off the oop and did the 360. They both did that. That was
they did some other things too, such as
he does this though. He does this. Oh, that's a 10.
That's a 10.
That's a 10. That's a 10.
Hey, you got
that's not a 50 compared to.
Be better to me than the free throw dunk.
Well, so Aaron Gordon right there, he won that round to me. Like I said, Zach Levine's got the best dunk. Aaron Gordon's probably got the next best 4 dunks, something like that. So, well, hey, let's keep it moving though. So that's where we're at. We're at number 1, 2016. We agree on that. That's consensus. But let's talk about some other players that could dunk, could play, all that. You brought this up to me. You want to talk about the best players 6'1" and under? So I'm with that. I came up with a list. You came up with a list. Let's see who done. Yeah. Can I give an honorable mention though? This guy is no. Yeah. You mind if I give an honorable mention? So this guy has nowhere near, but it's kind of go with the dunks contest that we're talking about and 6'1". So this guy is nowhere near one of the best 6'1" and under players, but he had some of my all-time favorite dunks, and I loved watching him play. Was my main man right here.
Look, I be riding through my old hood, but I'm the shit. Now look at me. I'm a boss like my nigga Rose. Shorty asked me for a check, I told that bitch like no way. Cause I made it from the bottom, it was never no way. And I never had a...
So Robert Pack was always one of my favorite highlight reel guys. It was always one of my favorite. So just to bring this in right here on the dunk contest, Vince Carter, Dwight, Jason Richardson, Gordon, Levine, best last 25-year dunk performers. So I got to go with Desmond Mason too. So I agree with Desmond Mason as well. But yeah, Robert Pack, if you were there, there was nothing more exciting than turning on ESPN2, NBA Today show. Like Fred Carter and them watching like Robert Pack highlights, Get Up, because nobody really jammed it. And like Kevin Johnson was one of my favorite players too. And Kevin Johnson didn't jam it like Robert Pack. Robert Pack was awesome. He is my white chocolate, young, highlight filled memory of where his play does not match his highlights. But that dude was awesome for the highlight reel. I loved Robert Pack. Anybody that had Robert Pack coming off their bench, playing about 16 minutes a night, that was golden for Robert Pack. What about Robert Pack? How you feel about Robert?
He was dope. I liked him. Yeah, I mean, I liked him kind of the same way I liked Kevin Johnson. That's the funny thing about it. But
Except Kevin Johnson was really good.
I was more of a Johnson fan. Yeah.
Well, he was a much better player. And all that. Okay, so let's go with this. I'm gonna read off guys that I got. I'm just gonna try to figure out like a top 10, 6'1" and under, and then you tell me if these guys make your list, and then we'll agree, and then we'll see where we differ, and we'll try to come up with, we'll fill in the rest of the list. So first person I got is Isaiah Thomas. He was a peak guy of 23 points, 14 assists, 3 steals. He's Hall of Fame. He's a 12-time All-Star, 1-time assist champ, 2-time champion, 5-time All-NBA, 2-time All-Star MVP, 1-time Finals MVP, members of the 50 and 75th anniversary team. You got Isaiah Thomas. You got Zeke under there.
Zeke doesn't get left off the list. I don't see how.
Okay.
Not for what? Not for what we're doing. Yeah.
Right. And I agree with that too. Next person up, and these aren't in order. These are just players I thought of and put on there as I went. So anyway, next person I got up is Iverson. He's peak of 33 points, 8 assists, 3 steals. He's Hall of Fame. He's an MVP. He's an 11-time All-Star, 4-time scoring champ, 3-time steals champ, 7-time All-NBA, Rookie of the Year, 2-time All-Star MVP, member of the 75th team.
Iverson is definitely on my list.
Okay, next up is Chris Paul. He was a peak of 23 points, 12 assists, 3 steals, 12-time All-Star, 5-time assist champ, 6-time steals champ. He also has the record for most consecutive games with a steal. He's 11-time All-NBA. He's a Rookie of the Year. He's a 9-time All-Defensive Player. He's a 1-time All-Star MVP, 75th NBA team anniversary member. You got Chris Paul on there.
They are literally the first 3 people on my list.
Okay. Well, let's keep this going then. Next up is John Stockton. He has a peak of 17 points, 15 assists, 3 steals. Hey, I got a question for you. What do you think John Stockton's career high shooting is for a season? What do you think his career high field goal percentage is?
Field goal percentage?
Yeah.
Stockton didn't really take that many shots. I can see him having a real high one, like 60 or 70.
Okay. Well, he's at 57%.
Oh, okay.
So, so he's Hall of Fame. He's your all-time leader in steals and assists. He's a 10-time All-Star, 9-time assist champ, 2-time steals champ, 11-time All-NBA member, 5-time All-Defensive. He's a 93 All-Star MVP. Members of the 50 and 75th anniversary team. You got John Stockton on your list.
Yeah.
So we're 4 for 4 right now, right? Okay. Next up is Bob Cousy. He is 22-10 at his peak. He is the Hall of Fame. He's a 13-time All-Star, an 8-time assist champ, a 6-time champion, a 12-time All-NBA, 2-time All-Star, MVP, 1-time MVP, member of the 50s and 75th anniversary team. You got Cousy on your list.
Cousy was not on my list.
Okay, so let's put him to the back burner. And then we'll go into why Cousy and all. Okay, so we're 4-4. I got Nate Archibald next. He is 34 points and 11 assists at his peak. He also led the league in scoring and assists in that season. Only person ever to do that. He is a Hall of Famer. He is a 6-time All-Star. He is a 5-time All-NBA. He's a 1-time All-Star MVP. He's a member of the 50th and 75th greatest teams of all time. anniversary teams. Do you have Nate Archibald on your list?
Yeah, I had Tiny on there.
Okay. All right, good. So we're at 5 right now. I have Lenny Wilkins next. He's 22 and 10 at his peak. He's Hall of Fame. He's a 9-time All-Star, 1-time assist champ, 1-time All-Star MVP. He's also members of the 50 and 75th anniversary team. You got him.
I don't have Laney. I was slipping on that one.
Okay, so we got 5 so far. Next up is Bill Sharman. He is 22 and 5 at his peak. He's Hall of Fame, 8-time All-Star, 4-time NBA champ, 7-time All-NBA, 1-time All-Star MVP, members of the 50th and 75th anniversary team. You have him?
No.
Okay, so after that we have Gail Goodrich. He's 26 and 8. He's Hall of Fame. He's a 5-time All-Star, 1-time champ, 1-time All-NBA. Got Gail Goodrich? No. Okay, then I have Calvin Murphy. He is 26 and 7. He also shot 52%, and he's only 5'9". He's Hall of Fame, and he's a 1-time All-Star. You got him?
No, it's funny. I
Hmm.
have Calvin Murphy, but that was only because I was researching him earlier today. So that's the funny thing about it. Calvin Murphy barely made it.
Did you know he was really big into baton twirling and all that, and like cheering and all that? Did you know he was like a national champion at that?
No, I didn't make it that far with my research.
I got you. And he would also bust your ass if you made fun of him for it.
I'm sure he would.
Um, so those are 9, and then I am torn between my 10th pick. I had Tim Hardaway and Kevin Johnson. Tim Hardaway is in the
Mm,
Hall of Fame. Kevin Johnson is not. Tim Hardaway at his peak is 23, 11, and 3. Kevin Johnson is 23, 12, and 2. 5-time All-Star, 5-time All-NBA for Hardaway, 3-time All-Star, 5-time All-NBA for Kevin Johnson, most improved player. And those are the 11 guys I got that I had to whittle it down. So we are copacetic on Thomas, Iverson, Stockton, Archibald, and Calvin Murphy. So tell me who you got else.
I have Kevin Johnson in mind.
Okay.
I just remember him as the 20 and 10 guy, honestly. And even if that wasn't his whole career, it seemed like from watching and observing him throughout the years when he was healthy, it seemed like that's what his story would have been. It seemed like that's what he's giving you, at least 20 and 10. He can be good for 30 if you need him to be, but he's consistently gonna give you that 20 and 10. So he
So
was
we'll
on
so
my
we'll lock in what, 6 players then?
I mean, we don't have to.
No,
I'm
no, no.
just
We
saying
can
he's
lock
on
in.
my
If you
list.
got him on your list, I got him on my list. He's locked in.
Oh yeah, for sure. So yeah, I had him. I don't have the numbers on Spud like that, but I definitely feel like Spud was a top 10 for a little guy. Um, I mean, he was an all-star. He was like we're saying, he won a dunk contest.
Spud never made the All-Star game.
No,
Spud's peaks were 16 and 7. He's a career 9.9 a game and 5.3 assists with no awards, no nothing. I mean, he's great. I mean, it's hard to make an All-Star team at 5'7". So, okay, so who
Spud
else you got?
had Spud. I had Muggsy. Um,
I understand why Muggsy's in there too. Muggsy was
Muggsy,
awesome at D.
he was good. He was like
Really
he was a dog.
ball pressure D. Okay. Who else
So
we
yeah,
got
I had
besides Muggsy?
Muggsy. Who am I missing? That was it. So I had Iverson, Paul, Zeke. Oh, did I say IT? Did I say I didn't say IT. IT was
Yeah,
on my list. I
yeah, I
did
can.
say IT.
No, you didn't say IT. I had Isaiah Thomas on my list too, but he only had 2 or 3 good years. Not talking about Zeke, right?
No, I'm not talking about Zeke.
Right,
Yeah.
right, yeah. But he only had 2 or 3 good years and then he got hurt. So that's kind of like, we'll use for
Mhm.
example, it's hard for me to pick him because his NBA career is over. We've seen what he's done. He's not going to get in the Hall of Fame. So it's hard for me to pick him over a guy like Gail Goodrich, who's a Hall of Famer, Lenny
Yeah.
Wilkins, who's a Hall of Famer, things like that. Tim
Yeah.
Hardaway, who's a Hall of Famer. So
Yeah.
so then
All right.
so let's work it down. So we got what? We got 5. We have who do we got? We have Isaiah Thomas, Allen Iverson, Chris Paul, Kevin Johnson, we have Calvin Murphy, and we have John Stockton, Nate Archibald. That's 7. So I mean, we gonna put Kuzi in there?
Yeah. 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 It's a legend.
Hmm,
Like I
I mean,
dropped the ball on that one.
yeah, he's one of only 2 people, 6'1" and under, 2 get the MVP, him and Iverson, I believe. So then we got him at 8. Next on the list is, like I said, we got guys like Tim Hardaway, Gail Goodrich, Bill Sharman, Lenny Wilkins. I mean, who do you think those two slots should go to?
I'm gonna go Wilkins and Hardaway.
I'm cool going Wilkins and Hardaway. Like I said, I don't really think there's a bad matchup out of that. Um, I think one of the things about like Hardaway was a 5-time All NBA, 5-time All Star. Lenny Wilkins was a 9-time All Star, no All NBA. In that regard, but I mean, he still made 9 All-Star games. I mean, I think Bill Sharman really has the best resume with the 7-time All-NBA and the 8-time All-Star. But I mean, I understand if you don't want to put him in there because, the competition in the 50s, who he played, things like that. So there you go. That's going to be our top 10 for 6-1-9. We got Isaiah Thomas, Allen Iverson, Chris Paul, Kevin Johnson, Tim Hardaway, Calvin Murphy, Nate Archibald, Bob Cousy, John Stockton, Lenny Wilkins. And you know what I noticed when we were talking about some of the greatest 6 feet and under players? The white people really came out for that group.
They showed up and showed out.
Yeah, they showed up and showed out for it. They said, "Hey, fuck it. We don't get a lot of consideration. We need to pop up on this list. Even guys like Lenny. I mean, he's half white.
Yeah.
So, anyways, all right, y'all. That's it for the HoopStorians tonight. We're gonna. Unless there's anything else you want to talk about. You got anything else you want to talk about?
No. That was got through everything.
You sure you don't want to talk about like your interpersonal relationships or what's going on with Unique inside and emotionally here? You don't want to discuss any of that?
I cried a few times on the basketball court. I said, "Oh wait, no, that was just buckets I was dropping. It was just wet from all of this fluid that I got in my when I was playing." Nah, I mean everything's good. Everything's cool.
Well, it's like I remember on the court they used to call me machine guns. You know why, right? Because I'm automatic.
Exactly.
So, anyways, all right, y'all. That's it for us. Be safe. Stay up. He's Unique. I'm Tony Styles. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Thank y'all for viewing. Thank y'all for watching. Have a great night.
Oh yeah.